Man, I was rolling into 2021 feeling really good. I was able to finally locate a farm that really excited me. It literally met all the criteria that I wanted to have on a farm. Water, hills, bedding, the size was right. It had it all, so I really thought 2021 was gonna be one of the best years ever. As it would turn out, it would actually be one of the worst bow hunting years that I've had. You know, I had bucks to chase, but like any new farm, you just have to learn it. I mean, it is tricky when you get a new piece of property and you go in there and you're thinking, this is what the deer are gonna do, and you're using all the skills from all the years that you've had, and you realize, boy, what you think they're doing is sometimes the exact opposite of what they're doing. I had different bucks that I wanted to chase. I mean, but of course, you know, neighbors who've hunted there for years, they've got a leg up on you, right? They've been there for years. They know what the deer are doing. The one neighbor ended up shooting one of the hit list bucks, which was a really nice deer. A couple of other deer I heard from my friends, like the Spolums, who don't hunt that far away. They got one of the hit list bucks. So little did I know that these bucks were dwindling pretty quickly. And the one main target that I wanted to get was this buck named Kickstand. He was frequently on the farm, but I'll tell you what, I just was never able to really pin down his pattern. Another big buck showed up too a little bit later in the season that I had no photos of, which I ended up naming Sasquatch. A neighbor not too far away was also getting pictures of that buck, so I figured, hey, things are still gonna turn out to be pretty good because I still had a lot of season left, even with the late season coming. And would you believe it? Still no signs of Kickstand. That buck literally completely disappeared off the property, and that other buck, Sasquatch, that I thought for sure would be lured into my corn and into some of the food plots that I put together, zero sign of him until like the last couple of days, and I just was never able to put it together. Another buck that I thought was pretty cool that I let pass, and then I started thinking, man, maybe I should have shot him, ended up being arrowed, and I found him dead later that season. And I had one other good encounter with a big buck, but I just wasn't able to get the camera gear together. So here you go, you think you've got yourself your own private farm, you're figuring it out, but I was just never able to pull together in 2021. Going into 2022, I really decided to change my focus. I know there were some good bucks to be chasing, but I really wanted to start working on this habitat because I knew if I start working on the habitat, I'm gonna be able to start attracting a lot more deer to the property. Unfortunately, at this point, Kickstand is completely off the list. I mean, at this point, I'm really thinking he is just gone. I still have this other buck called Sasquatch that has been spending more time on the property, so I'll be honest, all the habitat work and improvements that I started to make were kind of geared towards this other buck. So some of the first projects that I started on was basically these kill plots. I went in with a Fecon mulching head, and they were smaller areas, and I completely just opened up these areas to be able to just get new growth in. Another super important piece that I was working on is I wanted to start working on some of Grant Wood's methods for planting these plots. Less spraying, less disking, less tearing up the ground and bringing up more weed seed, and really planting and always having food for the deer and never clearing the table like you do with corn and beans. The last and final improvement that I put a lot of effort into was my water hole. There's this one spot on the property where it's high up on a ridge, and if I got my execution of how I can get in and out, I knew it would be a killer spot, and just adding water up on top of this hill, I knew it was going to be the lure that would attract a lot of good deer. More importantly, this was an area where I was getting Kickstand quite a bit, so I was hopeful that if he was still alive, that this little extra feature was going to be what I would need to pull him into this area, because where he used to bed was literally within 100 yards of where I ended up putting this water hole. Well, it was starting to get to that point where you start getting excited about putting your trail cameras out. So what do? You first get those trail cameras off onto the beans, and I really wanted to get trail cameras out in some of those kill plots that I created. Sure enough, Sasquatch showed up right away. I mean, he was in the beans, he was eating, and he was already using some of the spots on the property where I was gonna kind of leverage to be able to kill him. And sure enough, I was getting regular photos of him. So I was feeling really confident that Sasquatch was gonna stick around, and I might even have a chance at him early season. Well, it's now a couple of months since I had trail cameras out in my kill plots, and I really wanted to slip in there to see what was using those, because there was so much new growth in there. I knew the deer would be in there eating. Grab the card, I get back to my computer, and I'm excited, guys, because I could just tell walking around there, I could see the browse, and I could tell that deer have definitely been using it. Stick the card in my computer, and would you believe it, the first buck I come across is as scrawny looking. It looks like none of the habitat improvements I made and the good food I put out there is gonna help this buck at all. It looks pretty weak to me. But what's most important is the next photo or video I come across is Kickstand, and he is bigger than ever. He looks great, and I literally was like, you have got to be kidding me. He made it through the season. I mean, literally, it just goes to show you with these deer on how they can just completely disappear for 5 or 6 months and then just come back to their original home zones. It's pretty amazing, but now I was pumped more than ever because I had 2 big target bucks to chase in 2022. Anybody who hunts a lot knows when they get a text message from a buddy during the hunting season or right before the hunting season, are like, man, I got bad news. We're all worried about one thing, right? Did something happen to one of our target hit list bucks? And sure enough, a neighbor shot me a photo of a Sasquatch found dead. He was in the creek. Who knows what happened to him? It was so a shame because literally several days before that, I had just this awesome trail camera video of him eating in my beans. I mean, he's got to be within like 3 feet of my camera, just looking totally impressive and awesome. I thought everything was going to be fine with this buck, but would you believe it? Something got him. So literally I went from my 2 bucks down to 1 that quickly. So now with that, the hunt for Kickstand begins.
Come on.
You know, after that first encounter with Kickstand, part of me thought it was going to be over because, you know, let's face it, during the season, you only get so many chances. And, you know, I'll be frank with you, when it comes to big bucks, what do you get? 3 chances at a max each year, so you're almost counting those down. But one thing I did learn by having that first encounter with him is I was able to see where he was bedding, a little bit about what he was doing, and it kind of opened my eyes that I would be able to hunt that water hole also on a southwest wind. And luckily for us this year, it was hot, and the future forecast was continually showing that these hotter days were coming. So I still felt really good that there was going to be another chance at kickstand over this water hole.
It is torching hot. 73 degrees. A lot of guys are deciding to sit in tonight. I'm gonna push my luck. I'm gonna be frank. I'm gonna push my luck on my water hole and give it a shot. The wind's out of the south. I think the deer are bedded to my left. I'm hoping to be able to slip in that water hole. If they get to the water hole, it's going to be difficult because they'll probably win me. But I'm hoping I can catch them right before they get to it. I mean, if there's going to be a day when they're going to hit a water hole, I think today would be it. I'm here right now. The water hole is right off to my right. Bugs are bad. The scent might just be just off the water hole. So this could actually work pretty dang good. If they come up on these 2 trails, I'll definitely have a shot before they get to my scent. So this will be good. Well, I know I'm in his bedroom because he's right over there. It's the second encounter I've had with him here. Luckily, these 2 fawns, may have been a doe and a fawn, came right through the water hole and didn't cause many problems with the wind. They're over there feeding right now. But I've lost sight of Kickstand. I don't know if he just bedded down or what. But if there's any night to come get a drink, with it being 72 degrees, today's the day. I don't know what to say. I have no idea how I was so far forward on that first shot. I mean, it's beyond me. Then I got lucky and he turned, came through here, and I nicked him. I didn't nick him. I shot him right through the guts. I got to back out. I got to tiptoe out here and be as quiet as I can. Let him just go bed down. I lost sight of him once he got into this thick stuff. All right, I'm finally backed away. I got my arrow. Arrow was a lot more promising than I thought. I mean, he had a lot of red blood, and it might be right through the liver. But I got to get back and watch the videotape. I was zoomed pretty far out, so I don't know how I missed that first shot. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? But let me go back, review the tape, rally the troops, and figure out a game plan for tomorrow. Man. Well, good morning. It is November the 3rd. Shot my buck last night, and you know, after seeing the shot, I definitely wasn't feeling very good about it. It was definitely, shot was back. You can see Kurt behind me here, but we've got a super special guest with us today. Somebody who I do owe a lot to, because Ralph, you did help me in the beginning, I'll quite a bit, and I appreciate that. So we have Ralph Cianciarulo here. Unfortunately, we're looking into the sun here, so we're going to come around. It just so happens that Ralph and RJ's over here was nearby. I called him up, and his
try to help.
His kind heart said he would help me. So I appreciate it. I hope we're not going to need tons and tons of help, but I got the pro here, RJ, I got Kurt, and we're gonna hope that this buck isn't far. So join us, cross your fingers for us. Here goes. So last night then, he ended up coming out this trail here, and he was walking right here. And then this is where I missed him, like a knucklehead. This was my first. Died, RJ. You can say it, dude. It's fine. I can handle it,
buddy. Everybody. If anyone says they ain't never missed, they ain't shot a lot.
Exactly. So, you know, I think I should have waited a second, because he was just gonna come right to here, you know. But I figured, why let him get any further away? So I ended up basically missing him here, and then he ran out. He ran this way,
yeah, you can see the leaves rustled up pretty good
right here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. There's a little blood here. That's where I. Well, honestly, what led me to that was I did see a broken little twig.
No, my fault.
Oh my God, bro.
No, I saw blood there.
You're trying to give me a heart attack. Jesus.
Your white hair, though.
Ralph. RJ found a bunch.
It's on that leaf right there too. That might have been stuck to it when it got up.
Yeah, maybe it flipped over. RJ, man, two incredible finds. Thank you, RJ. No problem. That's a monster find right there. Yeah.
At this point, I wouldn't be mad if he made it to the water, because then we could just float him down to the crossing. I was just gonna say, this is where it's gonna help us with the tall stuff.
Here's a whole bunch.
You got blood?
Yeah.
Come on, big fella. Dude, how fresh is that? That's very fresh, dude. That's very fresh. It's cold, but it's fresh.
Yeah, but was this grass wet at all this morning?
That could be it
You
too.
had to have dew on it.
Well, we've given it an all-in effort this morning looking for my buck. I've been fortunate enough to have Ralph Sansorella come out here. Randy came out and helped me. RJ came out and helped. Kurt was sick, so he did the best that he could do. We did a great job. I mean, man, there was blood. We fouled it, multiple beds. We got down by the creek, and unfortunately, you know, that's a good sign, because generally when they head from water, you can expect that you're going to find them pretty close by. And we found at least 3 different beds where he was. We found material, gut material in those beds. So we know that he's gonna die. We know that he's somewhere within this area where we found the last bed. So we finally just decided to give Tracker John a call and bring him in. So he's on his way here right now. He's supposed to get here in the next 15-20 minutes. And then we're pretty much gonna go right down to that area, get the dog on that scent, and see if we can pick up a trail and get on the deer. So cross your fingers and join us.
Totally. The only thing I'm not liking is, you know, the heat, the sun today, and now the wind.
I know.
You know, I know. Same thing.
I mean, if you got to make excuses for your dogs, I understand.
No, I can leave right now. No excuses.
You're not leaving. Love this. This is a lot of corn over here and a lot of bedding. We quickly. Never a good feeling when you're a bow hunter, and it's all part of the hunt. I mean, it's all part of the hunt, right? I mean, the hunt starts when that arrow's released. Sometimes you smack them good and you see them fall over, and other times this is part of the program. You bow hunt long enough, you will be in this position at some point. Well, at this point, guys, it's now 10 o'clock at night. We have exhausted some miles and some hours, and all the people that have helped me. I mean, literally, there was at least 6 to 8 people that have gone out there to help me try to find this deer. And we found blood. We found beds. We did everything that we could do to try to find this deer, but once it crossed that creek and we lost the blood trail, boy, it got tough. At this point, I'm gonna be honest, everybody had to go. I was exhausted. I needed a break. Poor John did a huge favor for me and literally drove after being on tracks for probably over 48 hours. I know he was running on empty. At this point, I needed to go take a break, and John was like, you know what, let me just handle this on my own for a little bit. So at this point, I went and took a break. I'm literally sound asleep, and all of a sudden my phone goes off, and it's John basically telling me to get my butt down there immediately because he finally found some fresh blood in a new spot.
That was not easy.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, will you hold that flashlight down on this? Oh my gosh, we got him. Unbelievable. Sure enough, John, that was amazing.
It wasn't pretty, but we got it done.
No, that is a fact. I mean, how many yards from those 2 drop of bloods where the truck is?
Oh.
I mean, it can't be more than
No, it's a ways.
400?
Oh, yeah.
350?
Yeah.
Well, this has been one of the craziest hunting seasons, I gotta tell you. This is 2 years in the making. I'm finally sitting behind kickstand, my target buck here. I am so fortunate to be able to get this deer. You know what? You can't let the heat prevent you from going hunting. I mean, literally, it is 73 degrees today. We've got thunderstorms. It's in November.
you got to be able to keep on hunting. I mean, I don't care what the weather's going to do. When you get into that rut phase, you got to spend the time in the saddle. Hottest day of the year, and I was still able to harvest the biggest buck, my hitless buck here, kickstand. Thanks for watching. That turned out to be one of the biggest bucks I've killed in a long time. It was an awesome deer, and I'll be honest, guys, that is not how I wanted that to go down by any means, but you know what? A lot of times with bow hunting, it doesn't always go the way that you want it to go. The key is, when things go wrong, you got to continue with maximum effort, and you got to do everything it takes to be able to find that animal and do your job as a quality bow hunter. Too many times people just don't go that extra 100 yards, don't go that extra whatever, 200 yards, and sometimes you just need to continue to look for the animal. In this case, I was rewarded. John helped out tremendously, and again, I want to give a special thanks to everyone that came out and helped me. Ralph, I definitely appreciate it as well, but there's a lot of season left. I know Justin's got a couple of tags that he's ready to use. I've got a tag left, so let's see what else we can pull off in 2022. A farm that met all the requirements to be able to call it my final farm, right? My forever farm.
You just said you were gonna say that.
Well, you got it locked in my brain.
I would say something.